Hello everyone, I know it's been a while. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you are new. I am Nature Angel and it is a brand new year. It's 2023. So with that new year being said, I know that means, okay, we're gonna start looking for jobs or even internships. So I thought this was a perfect time to make a video. So after working for a year and a half, I have realized some things that I find really important and things that I want to know going into the next job that I wouldn't have known just from, going right from internship. So I wanted to make this video so that I hopefully can help you all out if you guys are looking for a job. And I'm going to list questions that I think you should ask in a job interview. They always ask, do you have any questions for me? And I feel like a lot of people are like, no, I don't. But these are some things that you probably really want to know before accepting a job, because don't just accept any job. All right, so stick around with me and we will spill the tea on some of those questions. All right, so I'm gonna start with some just logistical questions, and I'm not saying that you have to ask these type of questions in the interview, but I feel like you would want to ask these questions before accepting the job. The first one is, how many days are you gonna work? Are you working 40 hours a week? Is it Monday through Fridays? What holidays do you have off? What contract are you on? Because, like, for example, I'm on an 11-month contract. I have other friends that are on a 10-month, which I know a lot of teachers are. And then sometimes you're year-round, sometimes you're on a 12-month contract. I have friends that are like that too. And I think that's important to know, because that could affect the days you have off and how long you're working. If you're working over the summer, if you have off the whole summer, if you only have off a month in the summer. So very important question that you'd want to know. Another important question would be, will I get paid over the summer? So I do get paid over the summer, and I didn't have to adjust anything. I know some people, like, you are only paid up until your contract. So if you're 11 months, you're not paid for a month, and it's either gonna stay like that, or sometimes you can go in and get your paycheck so that they are cut a little less, and then you will get paid the rest of that 1 month. But it really depends on the job, and it really depends on how that pay is structured. So that's something you'd want to know as well. Do you get any vacation days? So I, on an 11-month contract, do not get vacation days, but we get, built up sick days, and we get it every time we get paid. Now, the people that are on the 12-month contract do get vacation days. Now, granted, we kind of have vacation days built in. I have off 2 weeks during December to January. I have off a month in the summer. We have off during spring break. We have a bunch of breaks already built in. So we kind of get our vacation days that way. But it really, really, really depends on your school and your district. How much will you get paid? So you want to know, and I feel like this, though, you might want to ask as soon as you're accepted, like as soon as you're offered the job position, but before you accept the job position, because, for example, the pay that they were offering me at first was lower because they didn't know that I had like my ed specialist degree, which with that, it bumped me up a couple of pay raises. So you want to know how much you're going to get paid, why they picked that amount, let them know any degrees, certificates, anything that you have that might be able to bump that up a little bit. Something you might want to ask the people interviewing you is, how important do they find self-care for their employees? And I ask that because I feel like my job finds self-care so important. And I myself believe that self-care is very, very, very important. I stress this all the time on my channel. And if you're at a job that doesn't value that, then in my eyes, they don't value your well-being. And how are we going to help other people if they don't even want us to help ourselves? Like, if there's anything that happens, or if we just have a stressful week, we're not functioning well up here. Like, my supervisor would like, take a day for yourself. do what you need to do. Focus on you, you know, because you are the most important. So definitely you'd want to know how they view self-care of you and fellow employees. Now getting into the school structure questions, because I think this is very important for how your day-to-day in the job is going to be, things that you'd really want to know. And just from working, I find this important, and these are questions I would ask to try to get an idea of what the school environment and culture and climate is like before I start working there. So one really good question, you guys probably know this just from your school psych classes, is does your school have some sort of MTSS system, or like a response to intervention, an RTI system? And this is very important because I feel like, and this is not all, but I feel like a lot of the schools that do not have it, it's a little chaotic in there. They might want every kid to be tested. There is no interventions put in place. There's no structure. It's just, oh, they said they're doing bad, tests. Compared to if you have that tiered system, you know, we're like, okay, let's try to stop it. Let's try to add in some interventions with small group. That's not working. Okay, let's try to have that really like hone in on that one-on-one work, see if that works. And like, do we need to look at an IEP now? You know, it's just very structured if they have some sort of multi-tiered system. Another important question is, how does a school-based team work together? Because if you are having your child find meetings, and if you are, you know, I mean, well, not if you are, because you are going to as a part of your job, but just how does that work in the school? Does everyone kind of put in their input? Do they only rely on the school psych? Who's running it? Do you have a specialized person? Like we have an ICC that puts that all together in Virginia, but at other schools, sometimes the school psych's doing it, and at other schools, it might be just the special education teacher, so it's someone different each time. You want to know the structure of that and how they work together, and if everyone is a team, you know, everyone pulling their own weight. How many children are usually tested a year? You want to know that because that will make such a big difference. I will tell you right now, I don't know the exact number, but last year with my two schools combined, I probably had about 30 to 40. I know some people that have 30 to 40 in 2 months at one school. And this was my two schools for the whole year last year. And we tried really hard to do interventions first. Again, going back to that multi-tiered system of support, we try to put in the supports first because that might help the student. We don't want to test everyone. It takes up a lot of time where it could be an easier fix. How many schools will you work at? Because so I have two schools, and there's enough school sites that we're able to have two schools here, but they were telling me in the past they used to have 3 schools. Most of my friends honestly have 2, but it's not unheard of to have 3, or even you might be the only one in the district, or there's 2 of you for a whole entire district. So you want to know what that is. And you also want to know how many students are at that school. If you have very, very, very small schools, but you have a bunch of them, it might not be as bad as if each school you have has like 4,000 kids and you have like 5 of them. I mean, like that's probably not realistic, but you get what I mean. Something that I feel like is important, and it wasn't stressed, that I didn't feel like it was stressed in my graduate program, was kind of more so the community around the school. So what is the climate like in the community around the school? Because that impacts the students a lot. And I'm realizing that a lot at my elementary and middle school. It's things that are happening at home, after school, on the weekends, during breaks when they are in their neighborhood. And sometimes they'll bring it in, you know, to school visibly, or it could be mentally, you know, but it affects them, what happens to them. And I think that's important to kind of get an idea of what sort of community are you getting into, especially if you are not from the area and you don't know that area. If you know it, maybe you don't have to ask that question because you lived in it, you know? But if you're going somewhere new, that's something you'd want to know. Will I have an office and a testing space? So I will tell you, I have an office at both my schools. I share it with the social worker, and I am appreciative of that because not every school site does. So you want to know if you have an office because it's pretty important. I honestly don't know what I would do if I didn't have an office. I might try to suggest that, well, I should work from home because you need you need a space to write those reports and have your work time, you know? But my office is not my testing room. It's way too loud at my one school. The other school, I could test in there. It's quiet. It's in the back of the library. But for the other one, like, I need a testing room. And right now, it's so hard to find a testing space. And it's pretty bad when you need to test a kid. And there's only loud environments. And that kid has an attention deficit. You really want to make sure that you have a good, quiet testing room. What are my expected responsibilities? I think this is key because what I've learned in my internship and being in Pennsylvania is not what I'm doing in Virginia. And I don't mean like I'm just not doing them, but other people kind of have this task. Like, I may have mentioned this in previous videos, but when I was in Pennsylvania, like, the school psychs were conducting the meeting. They were calling home and doing the parents, doing the history, meeting with the teachers, meeting with the students, doing the observation. Now, here, Virginia, in my schools, the observations are usually the counselors. The social workers are doing the social histories, and they're the ones calling home. I'm the one doing the testing, and the ICC's putting the meetings together. Very different on our responsibilities. And that's just a couple out of a lot. Will I have a mentor, and how does that work? So I was told that you get a mentor when you first start working, which is true, but that's going to be different depending on each school. So will they work with you? Like, will you too be in that school? Sometimes. For me, it's more like we're just kind of thrown into our school, but we have a mentor, and if we need help, then we call them or message them or video call them, you know, but they're not directly there or in the building or in the vicinity. It's more so like call as needed, and they will meet you in the beginning, and then they gave us like a tour of our school, at least showed us the school, especially if they worked in that school before, just kind of how things are run, who you're going to go to, and introduce you to the people that you need to know. So you want to know if you have a mentor and what that will look like. This question kind of goes back to one of the other questions, and it's like, how many school psychs, like what's the ratio of school psychs to students? So again, you want to know how many schools you have, but you also want to know what's that caseload, because even if you have one school but it's like 2,000 kids and the ratio is not supposed to be anywhere near that, you want to know, and you want to know if you can handle that or if that's something that you even want to do. So I think that's a really valid question that you'd want to know the answer to. And the last question that I thought of is, if you usually stay at the school assigned to you when you first start working, or do they kind of move you around? So we have enough school psychs that they let us stay at our school for the most part. If we want to change, then we can, you know, try to figure that out and switch it out. My supervisor is really good about that and like really accommodating. But if you really like your school, they try to keep you at that school that you like. But you want to know, because for example, if you're in, I used to be in the IU and internship, I think sometimes they switch you around based on what the need is, or if some people go out, if they need more here or there, because you're kind of working for the whole district. So it's not just one school. So it could be really different depending, you know, depending on where you're working at. So I think that's something that you really want to know, is definitely if you stay at the school that you were first assigned to, or if you switch around. So I know this video was a little long, and I know I did not touch on every question, but these were some questions that I really think I would ask if I'm going to interview for another job, or if you are about to look for a job and those interviews are coming up. I think these are some questions that will get you the answers to make that right choice for you on, should I accept this job or should I keep looking? Again, I feel like you shouldn't just accept anything. I know that I accepted this job, but I really wanted this school because I really wanted to move to Virginia. And after the interview and just meeting the people and having that feeling of like, wow, they're really nice, this is like the environment I want to be in, I accepted it. And sometimes that happens. Like, you just have that interview and you're like, this is it, and they want you, you want them. Sometimes maybe they want you and you don't want them. And that's okay to say no. Don't just accept it, because when you're in your job, yes, you're making money, but you're supposed to enjoy it and you don't want to go into work every day just hating your life. So if you get that sense and you're, you know, looking for jobs and they accept you and you're like, I don't think I'd like it, but I just want to say yes, don't do it. Don't do it, don't do it, don't do it, okay? Do not do that. Not good for your mental health. And school psychs, we're all about mental health, so take care of yourself. Don't just accept anything. Ask those questions. Get to know the school. They want to know you. You want to know them. It's an interview that works both ways. Anyway, I'm talking a lot, so I'm going to stop talking because I'm saying a lot of things. So I really hope that you enjoyed this video. If you have any other questions that you think are good interview questions, feel free to leave that down below. I appreciate you so much for watching. I really, 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 really do. Thank you so much again, and I'll see you next time. Bye, guys.